I feel like I've spent so much time reading up on the Kyllian Mbappe transfer sagas over the last few years that every time I see him in a Real Madrid shirt, I feel like it's Photoshop. How is this even fair? La Liga has a massive problem. Real Madrid, current Spanish and European champions, are looking stronger than ever and filled to the brim with insane talent. Look at this front four again. Kyllian Mbappe is the most senior of these players. He's only 25. You could argue that none of them have hit their peak yet, which makes this all the more scary, because there are literally 3 Ballon d'Or candidates here. As soon as I saw Mbappe, Vinicius and Rodrigo do Mbappe's celebration in succession, I understood what we were dealing with here. If Luka Modric can pass on his fountain of youth secrets, it's over. For Spain, as a country. The entire squad is just elite. Obviously, we know that this is nothing new. Their city rivals seem to have taken that challenge to heart though. Atletico have been making some serious moves in the market lately, and something tells me they ain't done yet. Diego Simeone, the longest serving manager in the league, is now in his 13th season as Atletico manager, and he'll be hoping that they've done enough to overthrow Los Blancos. Barcelona, sadly, look like they might be the odd ones out on this one. But maybe I'm looking at it all wrong. Things could always be worse. You could always be the guy who bought a Nico Williams jersey just for Williams to go on and show that he's the new number 10 at Bilbao. Why did he do this? It would have cost nothing to wait until the here we go. Anyway, we're talking about the Spanish Big Three in this video. Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Like I said a couple of videos back, I haven't paid too much attention to teams in La Liga outside of Real Madrid, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid from time to time since like 2019-20, pre-pandemic. But with last season, obviously with Jude and Vinny at Madrid, Kubo at Sociedad, Girona was hard to not follow. I think I'm going to have to change things around. Do a more holistic approach. So let's talk Real Madrid. A good place to start is the Super Cup. Atalanta looked very good in the first half. I thought they looked very sharp. Lookman looked very sharp, although I'd expect no less from the man who scored a hat-trick in the Europa League final. Both teams hit the post a couple times, but as soon as that second half came in, Real Madrid really showed us why they're Real Madrid. First goal was scored by Fede Valverde, but it was all Vinicius Jr. He cuts down the left side, leaving his marker wondering what day it is, and then just slides it through. He hasn't lost a step at all, he just makes it look so easy. The second goal came after Rodrigo stole the ball at the halfway line. Bellingham is on the end of an overhead pass by Vinicius, then his assist for Mbappe to run into was really well worked. Bellingham, when he's actually well rested and not exhausted like he was at the end of last season, is just a monster, deservedly man of the match. Real Madrid were great. They had a great performance. We all know how good they are, right? The team was virtually unchanged from last season. In fact, 8 players from the starting lineup of the Champions League were present here. Of course, notable absences were Nacho and Toni Kroos. But the biggest addition was, of course, the man himself, Kyllian Mbappe. So, this is his Real Madrid competitive career so far. 1 game, 1 goal, 1 trophy. It's only downhill from here. Next week, we'll see an article on Marca or probably just someone on Twitter saying that he's washed. We're at Real Madrid. We have no limit. I have no limit. No, this quote did not come from an anime character before he does a power-up. It was Mbappe in his post-match conference. He's already indoctrinated. What can actually be done about this? He also said he's aiming to score 50 goals in the season. If he hits form, who's to say he can't? I think we've all heard a lot of people say that they think Mbappe's superstardom might be a problem for this Real Madrid side. I mean, listen, he does have an ego. We saw that for PSG numerous times, right? Think back to all the Neymar debacles, the contract drama, all of that. But then again, I doubt you get to this level without having an ego. I think it takes an insurmountable amount of self-confidence to just step out there and do your thing for a club like Real Madrid. So the same thing goes for all of those players, which is why I'll give a bit of pushback for this idea that his ego is gonna get in the way. I'm pretty sure that any detrimental ego, any negative ego, would be allowed in that dressing room in the first place. The Friendship FC label has stuck for a reason. Ancelotti will use his mystic eyebrow and Captain Modric will probably sort things out. Also the most decorated player in Real Madrid history now. That's not bad for the worst signing in La Liga history. Endrick is now a Real Madrid player, and I'll be shocked if you haven't heard about that because all the publicity that's been going on around this kid is what I would describe as the most effective PR campaign of all time for a footballer coming from Brazil. Seriously, we've been getting blasted at all angles about news regarding this guy for years at this point, but of course there's been controversy, and you're probably thinking to yourself, oh man, He must have done something really bad, right? He gave an interview the other day where he said he prefers Bellingham over Neymar, and people have been losing their minds over it, particularly Brazilian legends and journalists. I know this is kind of old news at this point, but the entire situation is just weird to me because, I mean, obviously the answer is Neymar. Neymar's Brazilian, Endrick's Brazilian, but Jude Bellingham is Endrick's teammate at Real Madrid, current active teammate. Both answers work. I'm not sure why pundits and journalists and all these outlets are putting out these articles about it. Doesn't seem like a big deal. He did also say Bobby Charlton is his hero, which is a bit nuts. I guarantee you his publicist told him to say that. Just to wrap up this section on Real Madrid, I saw an interesting article on Reddit the other day that spoke about how good this team is. It was a thread saying that this team was the scariest prospect they've seen in world football. The team and manager combination, that is. And while I agree that they're incredible, I found myself scoffing a little bit because, I mean, they're obviously not the scariest team. They're not even the second scariest Real Madrid team or prospective team over the last 20 years or so. But I do understand why this sentiment is somewhat plausible to some. This team is amazing. They're so much better than everyone else. They seem so much better than everyone else. But that's exactly it. I feel like they kind of lack the competition or hype that other legendary Madrid squads had. I mean, the season hasn't started, so maybe competition isn't the right thing to say, but still. It seems like the only team that can compete on the level of Real Madrid on the planet is Manchester City. Whereas look back to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, Bayern, Barca, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal. It seems like in world football right now it's Real Madrid, Manchester City, and then everyone else. Which is why it seems kind of inevitable that they'll meet up in the Champions League for the umpteenth time in a couple months. Also, this team isn't exactly perfect. All the talk has been about their front line, and rightly so, but if you look at the back, you'll notice that they have only two first-team centre-backs, Rudiger and Militao. I feel like Militao hasn't completely gotten back up to speed since his big ACL tear, and it is an injury that could potentially come with complications in the future. If Rudiger gets injured, then there's going to be a real problem because I don't think that Carlo Ancelotti trusts Jesus Vallejo that much. Tchouaméni is going to have a long season in the back line if that happens. And the Swiss knife Camavinga isn't even there to help, coincidentally, because he was injured in training by Tchouaméni. There's going to be massive pressure on Hansi Flick from Barcelona. After the circus that was Xavi's will he won't he with the board, the Barca faithful need a bit more stability. Of course, everything is relative. Barca still put up 85 points in the league last season. They put up 88 and won the league the year before. But if you hear the sentiments from the average football fan, I'm not even talking the average Barcelona fan, all you hear about is catastrophe. And the reason is pretty simple. The opposition just got better. Barcelona's 85 points last season would have won them La Liga the year before too, after all. So the question then becomes, can Barcelona improve enough to match Real Madrid's level? Honestly, it's hard to see that being the case. And with the way they've been navigating the market from an outside perspective, it's hard to see the vision. Dani Olmo is the biggest question mark. As I've said many times before for many years on this channel, he is a baller if he's able to go uninjured for an entire season. But that is a very big if. It seems like a glamour signing. The return of a La Masia graduate and a star of the European Championship winning team. Great player. Unnecessary signing. Barcelona already have multiple players that can play in that 10 position. World-class players too. Just off the top of my head, Pedri, Fermin Lopez, Gundogan, and if you're gonna say that they went out and bought Dani Olmo because he can also play as a left winger, why not just prioritize buying a traditional winger? Probably would have cost a whole lot less. Did Barcelona really need to go out and spend 60 million euros? And I know it's not 60 million upfront, but it's a commitment. Robert Lewandowski has been very inconsistent. Apart from pretty much like the first half of his first Barcelona season, you never really know which Lewandowski is going to show up. Barca did just buy Pau Victor, their only other signing, but from what I hear, he's not ready. I don't even know what's going on with the whole Vitor Roque situation. A 19-year-old Brazilian wonder kid that signed in 2023 on an 8-year contract with a buyout clause of 500 million euros. He made 14 appearances and now it looks like the club is looking to sell. Both Xavi and Hansi Flick haven't been too impressed. It seems like an oversight. Who takes the blame for that? Pedri is in training again though, which is always a good sign. Who am I kidding with the criticism? Lamine Yamal is probably going to come in and have a generational season. Any Barcelona fans, please let me know what you think about the state of your club. Atletico Madrid have been splashing some serious cash. They're very clearly leading with intent. I mean, we've already seen Alvarez, Linamond and Sørloth sign for them, and it seems like there's more to come. It even looks like they may finally be able to offload João Felix. I bet you can't guess who the potential buyer is. Atletico didn't have the most consistent season last year. I felt like every time I checked in on them, there was always consistent flack for their away form being abysmal. I'm going to make a point to assess them myself this year. The Chelsea Conor Gallagher situation has been very weird. Chelsea have been looking to get rid of Conor Gallagher for a while now, and Atletico Madrid showed up as the ideal candidate, with negotiations having been ongoing. Guy was literally at the Wanda Metropolitano just the other day. Diego Simeone seems to like him quite a bit, but for whatever reason, over the past couple of days and hours, it seems that the negotiations have come to a standstill. You have to feel for Conor Gallagher because from what it seems, he's just a bit of a bystander. Chelsea have been offering him short-term contracts despite offering many of the newer guys 7+ year deals. Meanwhile, he's been at Chelsea since he was 8 and was Chelsea's most consistent player last year, arguably their best player too. I would argue that at least. But then he goes over to Madrid, gets briefed on the project and gets excited about how it's explained and how he will contribute. Then he gets told to go back to London as the deal is stalled. Reports are saying that this whole thing collapsed because Chelsea want Atletico striker Samuel Omorodion, but they can't agree personal terms with the man. Now, Atletico need a big sale to go through in order to fund the Gallagher transfer, which is estimated to be in the region of about £33 million. Obviously, that isn't the end of the story. João Felix looks like he can provide the answers that both clubs are looking for, and I don't know, man. Listen, there's a reason why I don't cover transfer news all that often. It is exhausting. Fabrizio Romano, he deserves everything that he earns. But back to Gallagher, he would be an amazing signing for Atletico Madrid just based on work rate alone. Looking at their squad, they have a great deal of talent. I guess now they just have to make it all work and challenge. And there we have it. Let me know what you guys think about Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. Do you watch La Liga? Are you going to start watching La Liga? Leave it all in the comments. That's all for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.